Have you ever wanted to play a martial arts movie? Well, this is your chance. I've never played anything quite like Sifu before. It's like a weird combination of Souls-like and a roguelike experience. Since being granted a copy of the game to review, I have not been able to put the game down, and I'm excited to tell you about it. If I had to think of one word to describe my experience in the game so far, honestly, the only word that comes to mind is wow. Okay, so let's get the specifics out of the way first. Sifu is a single-player action fighting game created by Slowclap, the makers of Absolver, back in 2017, and I've got to say, from the looks of things, the studio has come a long way since Absolver. I'm reviewing Sifu on PS5, but I've also played on PS4, so I'll be covering the PS4 performance too further into the video. The game is also available on PC on the Epic Games Store. In this review I'll cover the basis for the story. It's not a story-driven game as such, so you shouldn't need to worry too much about spoilers. I'll also tell you about the gameplay loop, the unique aging and levelling mechanics, the combat, and the moment-to-moment gameplay. Most importantly, I'll discuss how the game feels. So, the story of Sifu follows a young kung fu student on the path of revenge, hunting for the murderers of his family. The game begins with you witnessing the death of your Sifu, and so your journey for vengeance begins. It's based in a contemporary urban setting, and the hunt for the assassins of your family will take you through the hidden corners of the city, from gang-ridden suburbs to the cold hallways of corporate towers. Our young student is all on his own, with no allies and countless enemies. He will have to rely on his unique mastery of kung fu to prevail and preserve his family's legacy. When you begin the game, you start with a pendant that allows you to survive through death, but the price you pay is time. Each time you die, you can get back up at exactly the same place where you've fallen, and all your mission progress will be right where you left it, but your age will increase. We'll get into the specifics of how that plays out and how it impacts the way you approach the game shortly. The time frame for the game is set over a single day, which personally I found really interesting. The interplay of time, aging dramatically between missions, but after each mission, only a few hours have passed. The story takes place across 5 levels, and you have 5 main bosses to hunt down and defeat. Now, don't make the mistake of thinking that this will make the game super short. Unless you're a real badass, there is no way you're finishing this game in less than 20 hours. Mastery of your art will come through practice, timing, situational and spatial awareness, familiarity with levels, and through death. The death mechanic in the game is really interesting. When you die for the first time, our protagonist will age by a single year, from the age of 20 to 21, but the death counter goes up by 1 just before you age. What this means is that the next time you die, you'll age by 2 years, and then 3 years, and so on. The impact of this on the gameplay comes in a few ways. First off, if you meet an enemy who's giving you a really hard time, things have a way of escalating really quickly, and before you know it, you're 70 years old and it's game over. Secondly, your age has a number of impacts on the immediate gameplay and on your levelling process. From an immediate point of view, when you hit certain ages along the way, 30 for example, your total health is reduced, but your damage output will increase. This continues as you hit certain landmark ages along your journey. You'll hit harder, but you're not as resilient as you once were. There are also certain age brackets where you are no longer able to learn certain skills or take advantage of certain benefits for each playthrough. This adds a layer of complexity to the game, which at first is a little difficult to get your head around. Before we get into the gameplay loop, let's talk about the combat. Honestly, this game is like my childhood dream from a combat perspective. I can picture a 16-year-old me frothing at the mouth to get hold of this game. As a lifetime lover of martial arts and a huge fan of the old school Bruce Lee movies, and having studied Jeet Kune Do myself for nearly 20 years now, the game literally ticks all the boxes for me from a combat perspective. The basic combat is based on a light attack, a heavy attack, block, dodge, evade, and parry. You can leap over elements of the environment to create distance between you and your opponent, or to close a gap with an enemy. The main components of the combat sound relatively simple, but it's when you tie it all together that you can genuinely feel like a real badass. Each hit, combo, or takedown feels really good. You can use situational awareness to keep yourself from being surrounded. You can stand toe-to-toe with an enemy, swaying around their attacks and countering. You can parry if you get your block timing just right, to stop them in their tracks, then follow with an attack of your own. Sometimes your parry will stagger them hard enough to do one of your finishing takedowns, which will give you a little bit of your health back. When you use the evade ability, you'll need to evade in the right direction, otherwise you'll be caught out and either block the attack, which will damage your block meter, or you'll take the hit directly to the face. If your block meter goes down completely, then you'll be knocked down or pushed back, which leaves you open to a follow-up attack for a moment with no chance to defend yourself. You can grab weapons, which are bottles, bricks, bats, staffs, metal bars, and later into the game you can start picking up bladed weapons too, like machetes. The enemies will sometimes have weapons of their own, and if you're forced to drop your weapon, then they'll happily pick it up off the ground and come at you with it. If you get hit with a weapon, then you can imagine the result, and the stun mechanic has been done brilliantly to give you a real oh shit moment. While you're fighting, scoring hits, dodging and timing your parries, your focus meter will gradually increase. allowing you to slow time for a moment while you pick a move from your focus wheel. These moves are powerful tools to interrupt the flow of combat and can seriously alter the course of a fight, putting your opponent straight on their back or interrupting their attack. There are mini-bosses throughout each of your levels that will test your abilities and fight a lot better than your basic grunts. Beating a mini-boss will often open up a shortcut for you so that the next time you pass, you have the option to take a shortcut and skip some of the level. Some of the enemies when you beat them will also reduce your death counter by 1, and some of those enemies are in optional areas as you make progress, so you can decide on the fly whether you want to take them on or not. So that's the basics of the combat. When you tie all this together, it can make you feel absolutely hard as nails while you're fighting. The moment-to-moment combat feels super satisfying, but it can also leave you feeling overwhelmed. Let's get into the gameplay loop. This is where the game shows its inner complexity. There is a lot to cover here, so stick with me. So, as you progress through each level, you'll be given the opportunity to use the XP you've gained to unlock new skills for your character. There are a couple of scenarios where you can use your XP, either when you die or when you find a shrine. Worth noting here that there is a way to permanently unlock skills, and this is what made me mention the roguelike element earlier. If you choose to spend your XP to unlock a skill that you've already picked for that run, then it will be added to your permanent unlock count. If you hit this 5 times on a single skill, that skill will be available all the time, even if you start over from the first mission. What this means is that you can spend some time ploughing your XP into the skills you find the most useful, and then begin again to see if you can get through the mission more efficiently and finish at a younger age. Skills you can pick up come in the form of new moves. Some will be new counters after a dodge or parry, some will be new combinations that have the ability to knock your opponents down, others will be tied to your focus wheel to give you a new, more powerful interrupt. What you pick will be down to your fighting style and preference. One of my early favourites was the charge back fist, which can act as a great interrupt if you time it right just as your opponent is winding up their attack. Aside from levelling up your combat skills, you will also encounter shrines as you progress through each mission. At each shrine you can pick a single bonus, so you have to think carefully about what you pick. The bonuses are split into 3 categories. The first is your age. In certain age brackets you can increase the health gained on enemy takedown, for example, but when you get too old, this option will be locked at the shrine. The second category is based on your level score, and this will reset each time you begin a new mission. As you fight, there is a multiplier that racks up and contributes to your level score. The bonuses you can pick up will give you the opportunity to increase the rate at which your focus bar increases each time you evade or parry, for example, which will give you more focus energy for those powerful attacks. The third category uses XP as your currency. The bonuses here are actually really useful and shouldn't be overlooked. You can add to your focus bar, for example, so when you begin the game you only have 1 charge of your focus bar available, and some of the skills you unlock will cost 2. Another important example here is for 1000 XP you can reset your death counter, which can be a game changer. If your death counter is up to 5, for example, that will shorten your run significantly if you die, so definitely worth considering. The important thing to remember is that to each shrine you only get to pick a single bonus, and once you access the shrine it will be locked again the moment you close that screen down, so you have to make sure you pick something at that point. You can't come back to it once you've opened it. So in terms of the difficulty, it's strange. At first, once you get the hang of the controls of the game, it feels satisfying and the combat is excellent. The difficulty doesn't really dawn on you at first. You die, you get back up, you carry on through the mission, unlock a few skills and everything feels great. That is until you realise that your character is 70 years old with a death counter of 5 when you finish the first boss. You're back at home looking down the barrel of 4 more missions and you're 1 death away from the end of your run. Once you've unlocked each subsequent mission, you can then try again as many times as you like, but your age will remain where you left it on your most recent completion of the previous mission. This is what happened to me the first time I made it through mission 1. I was age 70 on the next mission, had 0 chance of making any real progress. Thankfully I had unlocked a major shortcut on the first mission, so I was able to cut out half of the fight, but that also comes with pros and cons. If you choose to use the shortcut, then you don't have much time to develop your mission score, and you'll also encounter fewer shrines on your way through, which means you'll be walking into the boss fight with potentially fewer combat abilities than you had before. This forces you to make a decision, knowing you have the knowledge of the boss fight, but also wondering if you have what it takes to put him down without aging too much, and knowing that you don't have the extra moves or passive abilities open to you. You can counter this to an extent with the time invested and having made some of your moves permanently unlocked, which means you can focus your XP on resetting your death counter, for example, to give you the best chance possible. I managed to get through the first mission again at age 42, and then eventually got this down to age 26, which gave me a good shot at mission 2. What I love about this system is it actually forces you to get good at the game. You can't get away with just coasting through, you actually have to develop the skill to win without taking those deaths, and combine that with making good strategic choices at the shrines you encounter. One of the things I love the most is that Sifu, for me, actually makes me want to take that journey. I want to be that good. Don't get me wrong, there have been a few moments where I've screamed some obscene words at the screen, having made it to the boss at age 23 and then seen my death counter and age go through the roof when it was all going so well. There are definitely moments of frustration. The difficulty of Sifu doesn't come from just being able to beat a boss as it would with Dark Souls, for example. It comes in the form that you need to beat the boss well. You need to do it with skill and without taking the deaths, before you can really make more progress into the game. So in terms of bugs, I was warned that there might be some when I received the review build copy on PS5, because there was a day one patch planned in, but I haven't encountered anything at all worth complaining about. Once I saw a weird moment where one of my enemies ragdolled up into the air, but literally once, and never since that one moment. I also played the game on PS4 too. The footage right now is directly from my PS4. It's a basic PS4 as well, not a PS4 Pro. And again, the gameplay is great. Not quite as good looking as on the PS5 obviously, and the frame rate has been toned down a notch, but that is to be expected on the older hardware. So to wrap all this up, yes, I love the game. Yes, I'm going to continue to play it. I haven't managed to beat the whole thing yet, and I'm really keen on doing that. It's a journey I've been loving and I want to see it to its conclusion. If you're a fan of combat games or you love martial arts, if you like a challenge and you want to be tested, this game is absolutely worth your time. I really hope the game doesn't go under the radar in the shadow of some of the huge releases on the horizon. I hope you found this useful. Take care, stay safe, bye bye now.